Okay, so for this module, we're going to be talking about the cash flow statement. And I'm going to pull some questions right out of the chapter. So I want you to read this, especially the first 3 or 4 pages of the chapter. It's pretty short. Most of them are forms within the chapter, so it won't take you very long at all. And you might even highlight some of the portions that seem important. And I'm going to highlight some of those through just the lecture that I'm going to give today. So the cash flow is a different statement than either the income statement and the balance sheet, but they're all related, okay? The balance sheet was just a snapshot. It's only for a moment in time, and it's only good for that day or that moment in time. An income statement generally is about a period of time, and as I've gone over, generally we want to actually look at it on our fiscal year, which is a 12-month period that we operate in. Could be January through December, would be the most typically chosen fiscal year. The cash flow can be any length of time. Now, this is one thing, as you set up a cash flow, that I would think that you would want to set it up like. And typically it's going to have the cash flow is all about all the receipts that come into the business and those expenditures that go out. It measures all cash inflows and outflows, okay? So it's not a measurement of actually profitability. As we've explained in the accrual accounting process, that was to come up with the actual profitability for your business. This is monitoring the cash that either comes in or it goes out on one statement. And that's really important because we've got to make management decisions that encompass the fact that at times we have surpluses, and we can easily say that we sell all of our crops, or we sell all of our livestock, we've got a big influx of cash at those points in time. Maybe we even sell some capital items. Maybe we sell a tractor. Maybe we sell some land. Those kinds of things. That would be measured in the cash flow statement, where it might not be in the income statement. So anyway, we have these times when we have surpluses of cash. And we also have times where there's a potential for deficits as far as cash needs go. And we can figure this out by actually projecting. We can project our cash flow out there. Now, as I was about to get to earlier, is generally we want to set up your cash flow on a monthly basis. And the main reason for that is that we're paying our bills on a monthly basis. Our feed store account is probably due and payable in 30 days. Our electrical bill is due once a month. Our telephone bill is due once a month. You get the point? So a lot of our bills are actually done on a monthly basis. So we want to find out exactly where these surpluses and deficits actually lie within our business structure. So the cash flow is typically going to follow the same period that our income statement does. If your fiscal year is January to December, then we're going to measure the business activity as far as cash inflows and outflows during that period. Okay? So, and it's a very, very important vehicle for your own management decisions, because you're going to have to figure out what you're going to do if you've got cash surpluses, number one, and two, what you're going to do if you have cash deficits. Okay? Now, the first one is pretty easy to answer. If you have surpluses, well, there is some deciding to do. But one of the things is maybe not decide to go down and buy the brand new pickup truck unless you've actually analyzed that purchase, or the tractor, or the implement, or the neighbor's piece of land. Maybe the thing is also to consider is, should we set that aside in savings, possibly, in investing, maybe keep it in retained earnings for a while, because we know that we're going to have deficits in the future. Okay, so there's a whole process of decision making that goes on with a surplus. Now, deficits, what are we going to do? Well, hopefully we've already thought this out. And when that does occur, we might have an operating loan that actually would fulfill those needs. And all we do is we call up our banker. Maybe we have him online at this point, and we just say we need a cash infusion. My expenditures are going to be larger than the amount of my balance in my account, so I'm going to need another $15,000 just to get through the next 30-day period. You can set this up well in advance with your lender. Now, larger capital items, those ones should be thought out anyway, and those will be reflected on the cash flow, but it'll be somewhat of a separate process in order to set up that particular financing and that sort of thing. So, but when you buy the tractor and when you get the infusion or the loan, it goes into your account and you write the check and that sort of thing. Well, every dollar is measured in the cash flow, and that's why you need to use that checking account. One account for everything you do. Okay, it's really, really important. And I know there's a few people out there, and I was that way too, is that I had several businesses going on. Well, if they're unrelated, then you need one account for each one of your businesses if they're large enough to facilitate that. And if you have any questions on any of that kind of stuff, you can call me up and ask me, how big do I have to be and that sort of thing. Okay, but you want to keep them separate, because if you don't, then sometimes really, really difficult to extract that part out and see where if you are profitable, why you're profitable, or losing, or operating at a loss. And you might have it kind of in your head, but that doesn't always work. Having it on paper, having it penciled out, maybe those are old terms to you. I'm sure you hear it from your folks and your grandfolks, but penciling something out actually goes a long ways in any of these business decisions. So let me just, I'll scroll up here a little bit. Here's the cash flow. I'll just go on past that. I mentioned just for briefly there the fact that we can have a projected, and it's a very useful tool. Projected cash flow is your lender, if you are actually applying for a line of credit or revolving line of credit, all the same thing, or what we call an operating note, same thing, will require a cash flow. Okay, so this would be a projected cash flow, so that they can see where you have actually planned out where your surpluses and your deficits are, and when they'll have to actually lend you a hand in the amount of currency you have in your business. Okay, now the actual cash flow is somewhat historical. It's almost all historical. Okay, and it's a great exercise, because if your business doesn't change too much, then we can use that as a projected cash flow. In order to just down and dirty, we can just take our past cash flow and apply it to a projected version. Maybe we'll manipulate the numbers. Maybe we're not going to get as much for our calves, or the market has moved higher and we're actually going to receive more. Maybe the market for malt barley is different, so we're going to actually manipulate those numbers and our sales. Maybe we get paid 4 times a year rather than 3 for our beets that we harvest in October. You kind of get the drift, I'm hoping. So we actually have a good skeleton, and we'll just have to manipulate that actual so that we can make it a projected. And also incorporate if we're going to do anything else or different in the business. We can also use that too if we have it in a spreadsheet. We can try out some scenarios. What happens if I do this? What happens if I do that? If I change and I sell yearlings rather than calves, what's that going to mean for my cash flow? I can easily And just with a few changes in a few cells on my spreadsheet, actually change that. So I can get several different versions of projected. I mean, I can do a 3-case scenario and give it to my lender. This is the worst case with our crop. This is what we've been doing, or what the average would do. This is if we do really well and we have a bumper crop. Okay, so I can manipulate those things. Cash flow is really, really important. Again, I can't emphasize it enough, is that it measures every dollar that comes into your business and out of your business. Okay, so is cash flow and profitability the same thing? No, they're not. And they may be, the cash flow, if you have a positive balance in your bank account at the end of a fiscal year, it'll show you that. That's not profit, though, as we've already covered as we talked about adjustments and that sort of thing in order to get an accrual-based income statement. All right, that's the only way that we can actually prove how profitable our business is. So cash flow doesn't have a lot to do with profitability. How profitable you are may enhance your abilities to, or it may enhance the times that you have deficits or surpluses in your business, but the cash flow is a different instrument made to answer different questions from a management standpoint, and also to supply to your lender if you have to use one, like most typical farms and ranches and businesses do. Okay, so here's a discussion that we need to have, is that there are certain things that are on the income statement that won't be on the cash flow, and vice versa. Okay, now what I need you to think about is the cash flow is every dollar as it comes in, and when it goes out, we're actually going to post it on the cash flow. So it's an all cash system. It can't be anything else. There are some things that would be on the income statement, or would not be on the income statement, that are going to be on the cash flow. For instance, let's think of the upper part of the income statement. Okay, so we sell a tractor. All right, and it's a capital sale. It's actually a long-term asset. We're depreciating it. Okay, so we sell it. Does that show up on the income statement? No, it doesn't. Part of it might, only if we make a profit on the sale. Okay, the difference between the book value on the books and what we receive for it, that would be considered ordinary income and actually show up on the income statement. The other part of that, the part where the book value of that particular asset would actually not be considered in profit, because we were already depreciating that piece and we just wouldn't. And also, as far as expenditures go, we would not actually have depreciation expense on the cash flow. Cash flow only measures actual cash inflows and outflows. Depreciation is a non-cash expense. It's on the income statement, but it's not on the cash flow statement. Okay? So I'm going to shut this off so it doesn't get too long. So, and we'll resume pretty quick here, or you can take a break and load up your next video next.